Welcome to Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians, an interactive panel discussion, Fridays at 1 p.m. With the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee of the Austin Federation of Musicians, AFM Local 433. Welcome back. Let's see here. Here's our intro. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some work as contractor 1099 workers, others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry. And then our mission statement is usually read by Jonathan. The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. We are not experts in unemployment assistance. We are musicians, and we're just trying to help everybody get through this thing. Legal disclaimer: we read this every week. I'll get through it as fast as I can. The information contained herein does not constitute either legal advice or an official pronouncement or position of the Austin Federation of Musicians, but rather is only the personal opinions of the panelists. The panelists do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff about a case, and must minimize their involvement with administrative processes. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment-related action. Before taking any employment-related action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed private sector employment law attorney of your choice. All right, it is June 12th, 2020, a year that we will all remember for quite some time, I'm quite sure. If you haven't started the process, and if you're a musician in Texas and you haven't started the process of getting on the unemployment system yet, we do recommend that you start that process. And of course, it's different for all of us in different fields, and mainly by the way you get paid. So we always mention these websites on the session every Friday. And the first one is the Facebook page of the Texas Workforce Commission. They're always posting updates. A lot of it is the same pieces of advice over and over again, and that's actually pretty similar to what we do on this panel discussion. We wind up talking about things over and over sometimes, and just they tend to apply in different ways. So that's a good page to watch. Our local 433 musicians unemployment information sharing page on Facebook also kind of aggregates all those things that are relevant to musicians. The official website of the TWC is twc.texas.gov, and that's where you do all the business of making payment requests rather, filling out the forms, keeping in touch with the TWC is all through that website, and that's where also the most current information is. So it's good to keep up with that website, and check it now and again. And then once you're going on unemployment assistance, you make your payment claims there every 2 weeks at the appointed time for you. So that's very important. Our Union local website here is afm433.com, and there's a COVID resources page on there, which is afm433.com/COVID-19, and that has all kind of all the recommended resources that we have. We're trying to keep that list as short and concise as possible, but there's a lot of help there, and links to places to find help. So if you need help, let us know. Please contact our office especially if you need help with unemployment applications. And then the last website that we always recommend is Who Represents Me, and this is the Texas version of Who Represents Me, and it's wrm.capitol.texas.gov, and you have to spell capital correctly, CAPITOL, because we're talking about the capital of Texas, not capital financing or something like that. And that's where you can find out who represents you in the state of Texas. So you can find out who your state representatives, state senators, and then your U.S. House of Representatives representative, and your U.S. Senate senator. And then I think it also has your school board representative for the state school board and all that stuff. So it's very useful. It is very difficult to find out who represents you in the state of Texas because of gerrymandering, where the districts are divided. And I just realized I'm on mute. Hopefully that's been going through. If not, let me know. All right. Anyway, I think that probably should be just for the call, maybe. Yeah, I think we might be all right. Good. All right. Live broadcasting here. Yeah. All right. We always start with beverages, and the rest of the committee is not joining me today for lots of good reasons. Some of them are having to travel, do some emergency travel. And some of them are on a recording session. Cheers. Some of them are moving. God bless them. And so, yeah, we have some activity, which is great because we've had weeks and weeks of no activity. So it's just me here today, Aaron, and I'm drinking coffee today. So thank you for joining us, or thank you for joining me. You can email questions to the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee of AFM 433 at ucac@afm433.com. And we always check that email address before the panel discussion to see if we have any questions there. You can also ask a question in the chat room of this live session on Facebook. And we've had several people ask good questions there. You can also post a question on the Facebook event invite. And let me check that. You can probably see my mouse wiggling around the screen. That's what I'm doing. I'm checking all these different places. And we don't have any questions there this week, and that's okay. But we do take questions from the audience live, and then we take questions asynchronously as well. So if you'd like to ask a question or let us know what's happening with you and your situation, we do want to know, because that's what this is all about. This is about information sharing to try and get everybody on unemployment assistance that's in the music industry, because this pandemic it's not going away soon, and as we've seen before, like when 9/11 happened, everybody else has to be back to doing things normally for quite a while before our business will get back to normal. So it's just going to take longer for us. So we need all the help we can get, and we need you, if you are a musician, to get all the help that you can get so you can stay in this business, because we got to keep this business going. Music is really the number one cultural export of the United States, probably the most powerful cultural export in the entire world. American music. So we have to keep it going. It's not just a cultural priority; it's an economic priority. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Well, I wanted to mention a couple of things. The first thing is, last week we had a question about teaching private lessons for music teachers, and the question was, is there a threat at which you have to report that income to the Texas Workforce Commission? Is there a place at which you should report that income on your payment request? That's really, it's kind of deceiving. Your payment request every 2 weeks really is where you declare the income that you made in the previous 2 weeks, and then the TWC decides how much money they're going to give you in your payment. So you're not actually asking for a certain amount of money, you report your income and you request the payment, but you don't actually request the amount of it. The TWC calculates that for you. And you do have to report all your income. This is what we discovered over the week. There's no threshold for private lessons for like small, you might say like piecemeal work is what you might call that. There's no threshold for that. You are required to report all of it. Now, I mean, I didn't say this, but if you're being paid in cash, it's not that traceable, right? But most of us that are teaching private lessons are not being paid in cash, especially now. If you're doing remote lessons, you're accepting payment through some sort of banking system like Venmo, Square, PayPal, maybe Zelle, and those are all banking systems. So that income is all traceable and will show up on an audit and other things. So I definitely wouldn't recommend risking not reporting your private lesson income. Just report it, and yeah, keep being honest about all your income. If you don't qualify for a week of benefits, if you make too much money one week and you don't qualify, that's okay. You just keep reporting as you go forward. It doesn't wreck it for the rest of your life, or it doesn't cancel your benefits altogether if you make too much money one week. The next week, if you make less money, you can qualify again for the benefits. So yeah, it's really best to just keep reporting your income, and that's yeah, even for small private lesson payments here and there. If you're teaching like weekly, most people do weekly lessons. It's a really good idea to bill monthly. That way you get one check per month, and then maybe that disrupts your unemployment benefits the first week of the month, and then the next 3 weeks it doesn't affect it at all. So that's a good way to do it. That's that's yet another good reason. It's another good reason to do monthly billing for private lessons, and try to keep on a schedule, because we all need something on our schedule, because there's no performances, or at least not very many. So yeah, cool. So that's what happened of that, and thank you to the person who asked that question last week about private lessons. What other news? There's an interesting video up on our unemployment information sharing page on Facebook that we put up there from vox.com, vox.com, and it's about the computerized unemployment systems across the country. It mainly focuses on Florida and Massachusetts because they have the same unemployment computer system, and with radically different results. But it gives you some insight. It's very short. It's only about 6 minutes long. So I'd recommend giving it a shot. And take a look. It gives some insight as to why our unemployment system here in Texas is difficult to manage online as well, and difficult for us to manage, and also difficult for the state to manage as well. So that's something to check out. That's new this week. What else happened? We had an interesting case that the committee helped out with this week. We had a musician who gets mainly W-2s from a performing arts group, from a university, and then he has an LLC that he pays himself as an employee of the LLC. So it's all W-2s, and that musician was able to get into the unemployment system very quickly this week, and is going to be receiving benefits very soon. So that was good news. So if you know someone who is kind of wondering about that, like, I have my own business that I pay myself as an employee, is that going to be difficult? It seems like that will be pretty easy. So if you know someone that hasn't applied yet, and is a musician, encourage them to apply. really, it's not too late. We get that question a lot too. Is it too late for me to apply? And it's definitely not too late. Most of the benefits actually can be backdated, particularly the pandemic assistance can be backdated back to like March 15th or something, when we all started losing performances. So it is not too late. Yeah, for sure. We had another case this week. That was a person with more mixed income, where they had W-2s and 1099s and self-employment income, and that musician was was delayed, several weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. He was waiting to get his, he applied and was waiting to hear back or try to get in touch with someone. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get a hold of anyone. Couldn't get through the phone systems. Couldn't get a return email, and was getting to the point where they needed some help. And that particular case, we put that musician in touch with again Judith Zaffarini's office. So thank you, Judith Zaffarini and Krista Kyle, who works in Judith Zaffarini's office as the deputy chief of staff and staff attorney. They've been helping a lot of musicians out. So thank you again. They helped this musician out get a call back from within the TWC, and got their application straightened out so that they can start receiving benefits. And that's the tricky thing when you have both types of income, or maybe all three types of income. W-2, 1099, and self-employment income. It's difficult to get all that stuff together so that you can start receiving both types of unemployment assistance. And by both types, I mean standard unemployment insurance, and also the pandemic unemployment insurance, or disaster unemployment insurance, as it's also called. So those two types of things together can help you out. But when your income is mixed like that, it's very difficult to fill out the application properly. In fact, it may actually be impossible to fill out the application properly. So you have to fill it out, and then you have to talk to someone at the TWC. There doesn't seem to be any way around that at the current moment, at least not that I've heard. And also, the prevailing wisdom before the pandemic was that you would apply to the TWC, and then you would apply again if it didn't work. If you were denied, you would just apply again differently, in a different way, and report your income differently and see if it worked. Now you cannot do that. You can only apply once, and they will not let you apply again. Once you're in that system, you're there, and you have to talk to someone to correct your numbers that are in the system, to correct your profile that's in there. You cannot apply over and over again anymore. And I mean, that's kind of a good thing, but it's not the way that people expect, because they've done it the other way for so long. So and also it's very difficult to get a hold of someone. So but it's something to be aware of. You only apply once, and then you have to get things corrected with an actual TWC employee on the phone with you, and that's a tricky thing to do. And a lot of times you do have to get a hold of a state senator or a politician to sort of get you in the back door of the TWC, and they'll call you and get those things corrected. So that's an important thing to keep in mind for sure. But that musician was able to get benefits already this week, so that's good after 5-6 weeks of frustration, and that we've seen that before. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Any questions in the chat? I don't see any here. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, that's all I have to report for this week. We could go through a few of these kind of standard questions. we'd like to hear from from you as well. Has anybody done one of those multi-screen, multi-musician layered videos? Where you have 5, 10, 15, 20 musicians all on screen, but they all record separately. Has anybody done one of those, and how easy is that to do, in your opinion? We'd like to hear from you about that. That's something that musicians can do, particularly musicians who are members of larger ensembles. It's like, yeah, what do? You can't get that many people in a room right now, in a lot of cases. So that might be the only option. The multi-cam, multi-screen video type of thing. Yeah, let us know if you're doing that. Do you know any other musicians with mixed income, meaning W-2, 1099, self-employed, who are receiving benefits based on both at the same time? That seems to be the most difficult to set up, but we've heard of people doing it, and we've helped people to accomplish that. But do you know of any others? We'd like to talk with them and find out how they did it. It's all about information sharing here. So, yeah. What form should further relief be offered in? Further relief from the federal government is what I'm talking about. It's June 12th, 2020, and we still haven't passed the HEROES Act. That the U.S. House of Representatives has passed, and it's sort of stalled out in the Senate, and there's different things coming from the Senate at this point. Yeah. What? Yeah, assuming that doesn't pass, or they still work on it, what do you think? How should they offer more relief? Should it be, through the National Endowment for the Arts, and should it go directly to our arts institutions, who then could pay musicians? Should it go into the unemployment system, where we can hopefully get at it through the unemployment system? Should it go through another stimulus check that just goes directly to taxpayers? We'd like to hear from you on that. So, yeah, please write in and let us know what you want to hear about, or your situation. Also, feel free to get in touch with the union office. We're at afm433.com here in Austin, but there's of course a union office probably in your town as well. So. If you're in Texas, of course, there's the DFW local, and the Houston local, and the San Antonio local, and the El Paso local. But Oklahoma City also, and Shreveport represent parts of Texas as well. So, yeah. So please get a hold of the AFM if you're having trouble with this. We're here to help, and sometimes. We've dealt with your situation with somebody else, and we can help really fast. But if you have a situation that we haven't heard of yet, that's even better, because we want to know how that works, and how you can get help during this time, during this pandemic. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have for today. Let me check the chat one more time. Yeah. No questions there. So, yeah, again, like we say every week, don't give up. Please stay in the music business, because we all have to get through this thing. The society is going to need us during this pandemic, but also afterwards. And so, yeah, stick with it. And solidarity. See you next time.